Hi, this is Susan from Susan B. Cards. Today I'm going to use some Lunar paste to create a background, and then I'm going to show you the new Spellbinders die that I've used on this card. But first I want to show you how I made the background. So I use these neon Lunar pastes by Simon Hurley. I'm a huge fan of all the Lunar pastes. I really enjoy using them, and I like the effect that it gives. For this first background, I'm going to use just 3 colors. The Mood Ring, Yellow Jacket, and Tangent. I'm going to start with the lightest color because I just use the same sponge and just wipe it off in between. Just going to put some of this onto my flat foam sponge. Everything will be linked in the description if you want to see what I've used. And I just go and kind of swirl it on. Now with this, since I'm doing it on black, I'm using this Scrapbookcom mixed media paper pad. It's very heavyweight. It's 140 pounds, 400 GSM, and this is an A2 size. You could buy this in a pad of 15 sheets. Since I'm using black, you can see that the color isn't very dark, because you can still see a lot of black. So with this, I'm going to put on a first coat and then let it dry, and then I put on a second coat. So in between, I just use a paper towel and wipe off the paste, and that's worked out pretty well for me. I always start with the lightest color and I go on to the darker, so I'm going to use the Tangent, which is a neon orange. I'm using a scrap piece of paper underneath just so I don't have to worry about cleanup. And I'm going on at an angle. You can go straight if you want. I just thought it was a different look just from going straight, because you could also use a craft scraper to just put on the paste. But I kind of like this swirly look. And then the last color is Mood Ring, which is kind of a pinky purple color. So here's my 3 colors. I'm going to let this dry and I'll be back. My paste is dry, so I'm going to go ahead and apply the second coat. And I still have the sponge. I haven't washed it, and it's still soft. When I'm completely done, I'll just go to the sink and rinse it out. So that's pretty good. I'm going to let that dry, and I'll be back. Next, I want to show you the Spellbinders set. This is called the Stitch Edge Circle Background Dies from the Spotlight Frames and Florals collection by Lisa Horton. It's a long name. And when I first saw these, I thought, oh, they're pretty basic, you know, nothing exciting. But once I started using them, I realized how great it is. You can use these 2 pieces, which are the square cutouts and the zigzag, and you can just take a piece of paper, and you don't have to cut out the circle. There's no cutting edge on this die, so you can just cut it out of a piece of paper like this and use it. There's also a circle edge included so that you can cut out the circle if you choose to. So you just put that together and then you run it through and you end up with this. So you can either cut it out of a piece of paper and just have it like this, or you can actually cut out the circles if you want. There's also a larger circle. Now with this one, it has an outer cutting edge, but not an inner cutting edge. So this can be used a few different ways too. You can just cut out the circle like this, and it has a stitched edge. Or you can pair this together, and you will end up with the outer frame, I guess is what it's called, a stitch frame, by using those two together. And then you end up with the inner circle, which will be cut out like this. So you could use this for something else as well. Or you can pair together this large stitched frame with one of these. And again, it'll only cut the outer circle. So you have the decoration like this with a stitched edge. So there's quite a few different things you can do with this 4-piece set. You know, there's different ways that you can use it. And I've thought of a couple more that I'd like too. With this one, I took my embossing pad and just embossed the paper. So I had the zigzag, and then I used the circle cutting die to cut it out. So you have this pretty embossed zigzag if you want that. I think that's really nice. So I've used this a couple ways on my cards. There's 2 florals in this set. One is called the Layered Anemone Etched Die, which is this. This one's called the Layered Iris. So you can see the 2 different flowers. The set makes the flower head and then the body of the flower, the stem, and then the buds. This one has 2 different flowers. There's 4 dies for this, and you just combine them, and then the center is a separate die, and then the stem and the leaves. So what I did here was I just used this die, so it didn't cut out the shape, the circle. It just left the decoration, and then I layered it over just a panel that I had, and then put the flowers on top. That's pretty. And then for this card, these 2 cards, I did them similarly. I took that background that I made, and then I just used the die with a circle, cut out the shape in black, and then put it on there, and then glued my flowers over it. Same with this one. I used the one that looks more like squares or basket weave on here, and did the same thing. Now the flowers, I used Lunar paste, and I just have a bunch of sheets that I put Lunar paste on so that I could use them for die cutting. I just think it's a real pretty metallic color. These are the basic Lunar paste. They're not the neon ones that I use for the background. You can see the difference here. This is the regular Lunar paste. This is a neon on black. This is, yeah, this is on white paper, but it's, I think it's Prom Queen, but I'll link all the colors below. I've been using a lot of these Lunar pastes, and I just like the way they look for die cutting and backgrounds. So you can see the different ways to use them. The same with this one. This is just regular Lunar paste on white paper, and I die cut it. So, you know, I did a lot of experiments. There were some that I didn't really care for as backgrounds, so I just use those for die cutting. I have so many of them. And I do that with all my media. I do that with distress inks, with paste, with sprays. I just like having a lot, and I like testing things out. So that's pretty much it. That's how I did this. This is pretty basic, just cutting everything out. I don't think that I really need to show that, but I did come up with another idea that I thought was interesting. I did want to show one other thing that I thought would be interesting to do with these shapes. So I cut one out of the Lunar paste, and then one just in regular black. And I thought if I layered them together, you can kind of play around with it, where you turn one upside down. See, because if you did it like this, it would just line up and it would be a little bit dimensional. But if you turn it upside down, you'll come up with a pattern. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue. I decided to take a scrap of this silver paper that I happen to have. It's old and it's probably a few years old. I think I got it from Michael's, and it was one of their recollection pads for the holidays. So I'm not even sure if that's available anymore, but any kind of silver or holographic paper would be pretty with this. And I decided that I would layer another piece underneath because it created even more interest. You can see a little bit of the sparkle with that. I also noticed that the gold, any kind of gold paper, looked pretty underneath as well. Or you could even ink up some paper. You could even put it on something like this, and it looks a little bit like some kind of sunset and background, which is pretty. I wanted to layer these butterflies. These are from Spellbinders, and I have 2 sets of these. You can see that there's a the same thing underneath, and then it has a little bit of a holographic outline. So I was thinking about putting one of these, maybe this blue one or the purple one. I'm going to go ahead and glue this first together and then decide. I also have the sunset butterflies. That one's pretty too. So I'm going to glue this together first. Just going to put it a little bit higher than the center, just eyeballing that. Hopefully it'll look okay once it seems good. I think this one kind of looks good. I don't know what other people are going to think, but this is what I'll try. I have lots of butterflies left, so I could always make more cards using some different colors. And it's just sticky on the back. Trying to get it centered. And there you go. It just needs a sentiment here, I think. I'll find something to put there. But I think that looks pretty. You can see all the shine. As I was making this video, the mail came, and the dies for this collection just came. This one is called A Little Hello, and it's a die, shadow, and then an outline die that goes with this set. So I decided to take the scraps of everything that I used. So I cut the hello from this Lunar paste piece of paper that I had. Then I cut the outer outline from the same silver sparkle paper, and then I used black for the shadow. So you can see it's gonna look like this, which is pretty nice, I think, altogether. I probably would have put this a little bit higher if I'd known this was going to come in. I didn't know how big it was going to be when I ordered it, so here it is. Might even pop the hello just with one more layer just to make it stand up a little bit more from the background. But I think that looks kind of nice. The set is stamped here with a sub-sentiment. So you could say a little hello, hello, how are you? Hello, miss you lots. Wanted to say hello. Hello, my dear friend. Hello from me to you. And then sending you a happy hello. So you can stamp those. They have the die that cuts out all the sentiments. So after you stamp it, you can cut them all out. And that always makes me happy when you can just do this in one go, stamp it or die cut it and then cut the sentiments out. The stamp is all in one piece, so you have to stamp the whole thing, which is nice because now I have it all here. Now I could just line it up with the die, run it through my big shot, and I'll have all these sentiments. Here's the other card that I use the butterflies on. These are the purple butterflies. This is, the frame is the April Stitching Die of the Month, and it's a hanging frame. This is a really nice die. It's big, and I'll link that also. I made a card, and I posted that on Instagram using this as one of my favorite stitching dies. You can see the frame isn't stitched at all. It was the pieces that was inside, that were inside, and it was some flowers. This is from the Timeless collection, this pretty swirl, and the sentiment, here's to beautiful beginnings and happy ever afters. That's also one of the Timeless sentiments. And this one is a press plate. And yeah, I think I foiled that with silver foil, and then, you know, cut this from silver metallic. Let's see, it kind of shines. And then these are, I can't remember the name of this die either, but this is a Susan Tierney Coburn floral die, and I think it's called Delphinium, but usually you would cluster these together on a leaf, but I just thought it would be pretty to trail that, and I trailed it all the way down here, just using white cardstock, and there's some stems underneath it that you can't really see, but I thought I still wanted to add them, and I used a tool to shape the little buds, but I know this looks like a lot of work, but honestly, you just die cut a bunch of them at a time, and it is a tool. Spellbinders has one too. I have a Sizzix one, but it's just this, and you just poke the center of each of these little buds. So I was watching a movie, and I just sat there just poking them, and then gluing them onto the card. I just thought it was so pretty, the way that it ended up looking. And it kind of reminds me of a fairy tale, and I use this dark purple Spellbinders cardstock too. So that is it. Those are my ideas for using these dies. I think they're extremely versatile, and I think they make a very nice grounding element for the back, for the background of your cards. And there's so many different ways to use it. You know, I showed you all the different ways, and I do think they're so pretty. I think this is really pretty. Could stack this a couple times. I was also thinking about putting vellum behind it, and it would kind of look like a Japanese screen as well. So here's all my cards. I hope you like them. I'll link everything in the description, and I will also link it on my blog at susanbcards.blogspot.com. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.